Sweet the whispers in your ear whenever ember wanders near.
No, this one, we're going to start with the Hirohei video. Hirohei put this out. Devastating loss for the modern audience. And this, I have a feeling it has to do with gaming. So let's just, like, we've been watching Xbox basically go through their, like the Obsidian, I think it's the Obsidian dev that got fired. Which, so I'm wondering if this is one of the people from Bethesda that just lost their job after Microsoft and Xbox did their Bloody Monday. Because would Obsidian be actually would Obsidian would the Obsidian devs be under the Xbox umbrella in this regard? I know I saw that too. We'll look at it. Let's take a look. Apparently, fanboys are glazing Xbox for this move. Okay, this should be very interesting. All right, let's take a look at this. This could be interesting.
Gamers, chuds, ladies and chuds. There are lady chuds too, actually.
That would be Queen Chud Hero. Thank you very much.
Doesn't really work. Whatever, you get the point. The point is, we're gathered here on this lovely day to talk about another performative corpo who...
Wait, hang on. Remember this clown? Well, he just got fired from Obsidian yesterday. Matt Hansen said gaming has too many crusty white dudes, offering to help replace him.
Gathered here on this lovely day.
And so he should go back to living in the woods. Well, he got his wish to go back and live. You got your wish to go back and live in the woods. Karmic justice at its best. Even attacked Elon Musk, saying, "Oh, Elon, you sweet summer child, this will only something you sad sack of shit." Embolden me. This will only embolden me. Oh my God.
Who, as they say, found out. Apparently.
Time to put the fries in the bag. Reminder to black artists out there who are looking for portfolio reviews or job advice. My DMs are open and you always have my priority. Oh, goodness. Yes, you'll have my priority. My current unemployed ass priority.
He got fired. This is what people are saying in the news. Now, you might recall Matt Hansen of Obsidian for his numerous virtue signals. Yeah, he's one of those types. Before we talk any more about Matt, though, it was only around 1 month ago that apparently this Compulsion Games community manager, Pikachu Lita, had also been laid off from her company. She's the one who was like making disparaging remarks, if I recall, about white people and Asian people, and also talking about how much she hates gamers. And I think there was another screenshot as well where she was bragging about being in the industry, saying something like, "I'm not going anywhere." And then, like I said, around a month ago, we find out that apparently she did get fired. And so returning to Matt Hansen and Obsidian, we see a similar sort.
Okay, so this is one of the guys this is one of the victims of Bloody Monday from yesterday. Good. Looks great on him. Looks great on. Hopefully, I'm not overly hopeful, but hopefully Xbox and Microsoft are just basically taking all of these woke DEI hires and ticking them over the curb. Like, all of them are like, "Oh, we have to make this for ideological purposes. We have to make sure that we give diverse people their voice in gaming so we can make a statement, not actually a game." Hopefully they are going to be like the 3,200 people that are getting fired over the course of, 1,600 already, 1,600 over the course of a year. Granted, I'm not under any illusions that it's all going to be gone because Bridge has absolutely invaded the likes of Xbox, but love to see these people that are just like so outspoken, like, we hate gamers, we love DEI, suck it, white guys. Cool. Go put the fries in the bag. Love to see it.
Sort of thing here, where a performative virtue signaler with a lot of hubris ended up actually apparently getting laid off. And so let's take a look at this. Post from our Kotaku in action says, Matt Hansen is among those who were laid off, citing this tweet from Chris Avallone that says, "This is incorrect. Daniel did not post anything along those lines, and Daniel's a good guy. He was great on the Fallout DLCs and really put his shoulder into it. The developer who posted it was Matt Hansen. And yes, he was laid off too. Top response saying, is Matt the same guy who worked on Avowed? Response reading, the one and only. Another
Boy.
user saying, the racist one who happily said he wanted to replace white workers with non-white ones purely based on race. I always
And by the way, this is something, so he worked on Avowed. That was an absolute failure of a game. He's been openly racist against white people. Now, normally you might think, oh, well, with the modern day businesses, they're like, oh, yes, we love DEI, we hate white people. We'll absolutely take in what would be colloquially thought of as a race traitor, i.e., a white person that hates white people. And you think like the modern industry would say, oh, yes, come on board right away. We'll take you immediately. But here's the thing. Xbox's massive Bloody Monday layoff has like rippled throughout the entire gaming community. And so all these people that are getting laid off, it's going to, excuse me, there's going to be the assumption that the people that get laid off from Xbox were not making Xbox money. And you have to remember, with all these companies, in the end, these corporations, as much as they like to pretend that they care about social issues and DEI and all that stuff, in the end, they care more about money, which is why Xbox just kicked 1,600 people to the curb yesterday, and they're going to be kicking a further 1,600 people through into like fiscal year of 2027, because they like to make money in the end. Because if they don't make money, they can't stay in the business. So, that's people are like, oh, well, he'll just get picked up by another DEI company. Other DEI companies are seeing this. That's something that a lot of people are saying. Like all of the other gaming companies are seeing what happened to Microsoft, and they know why Microsoft took the actions that it took. Is like, especially with the CEO's tweet from yesterday, is basically going the route Xbox did, where they were all in on DEI, they were all in on ideology, they were all in on virtue signaling. Where did that lead them? That led them to a non-solvency point. They're not at a point where the company is insolvent, but it led them to a point that they have lost so much money that they are going to basically that they have to fire 3,200 people over the course of the next year. Didn't she say they're still doing the same thing? She did a lot of like gobbledygook. There was a lot of like corpo speak diarrhea, and like she was like, but the one thing to note is like three or four times throughout her speech, she referenced reset. So, and I think other corporations that might be thinking about hiring the people that Xbox just fired, they're seeing what happened to Xbox. They're seeing all of these people in the direction that the company went in terms of the games that they're making, and they're seeing that this was a loss leader, that they ended up hemorrhaging money. Like, no, remember what Aisha said in terms of their monetary value, is that for every dollar they invested, they were losing 64 cents. Like, this is something that is going to resonate across the gaming industry, that, investing $1 and losing 64 cents out of every dollar that you invested is an untenable business, business model. It simply will not work as a business model. And more gaming industries that have not hit this critical mass point that Xbox did is going to see that go, oh, this isn't working. If a monster-sized gaming company like Xbox just had to basically do a red wedding scenario, then maybe we need to start quietly reevaluating ourselves. And all of these people that are getting fired from Xbox are going to be viewed as they are part of the reason why Xbox got to the state it's in. Like, companies are going to see this. And they're going to see that a massive, like, economic powerhouse like Xbox just, like, got rid of a crap ton of people. Anybody that's like, oh, well, we'll just pick them up. we'll just, this is just cheap labor that we can just pick up that Xbox just threw away. At the same time, their higher ups are going to be looking at this going, well, if Xbox, if they're firing all these people because Xbox is in this state where they're just constantly hemorrhaging money with everything that they do, why would we pick up these people that were very likely the direct cause of Xbox in getting to this point? So these people are not going to have like the sterling resumes that they think they will when their resumes including a company that fired them because this company got into such a low state. Like, this is not just like, okay, we're doing a little trimming of the fat. We're getting rid of superfluous individuals. There was like one small studio that didn't perform well, so we're getting rid of it. No, this was a massive culling of the herd. And the only reason to do that is because those that they're culling from the herd, excuse me, caused this cataclysmic event of financial near ruin. And and very few companies are going to look at the people that just got fired with an eye of, oh, we can bring them on board. They'll do great things for our company when they're seeing what they did for Xbox in the state that Xbox is in now. So I think with like people like Matt here, I think that's what's going to end up happening.
I always find it hilarious when people like Matt Hansen think they're so tough and brave for making their performative virtue signals, as if that exact same rhetoric wasn't already permeating throughout the entire AAA industry. Like, oh, wow, bro, we've never heard that one before. Good job. You're so original, Matt. And then these corpos end up making complete modern audience slop. The sales are horrible, and eventually they get laid off. Even despite the propping up from ESG capital firms, they still end up eventually finding out, as we've been seeing occur more and more, especially post-COVID boom. And so, that takes us to this comment. I hope owning the Chuds was worth it. Obsidian in general was hit pretty hard with layoffs, and it might not end here. It's over. The self-sabotaging hate towards your main customers, the con of taking high wages and long dev times to deliver slop, the forced ideology nobody needed or wanted in their entertainment products, the delusion of fighting capitalism while benefiting from it, it's all over. Fafo. But let's return to the OP screenshot for a second. Clearly this was responding to someone, right? Because Chris Avellone had said this is incorrect. So why don't we take a look at what the full context here is? And then after that, we'll suitably close out the video by taking a look at some of Matt Hansen's greatest hits. Yeah, really aged well. For the former, that takes us over, not there actually. Hold on a second. Right here. There we go. So Chris Avellone had said, well, Obsidian did have layoffs. Way to go, Microsoft. Okay, let's not pretend Obsidian's been doing great work, though. Some of their games, not so great recently.
Yeah, like, if I'm correct, like, Obsidian did Outer Worlds, did it not? The supposed competition to, what was it? The competition to Fallout. And while Outer Worlds 1, from what I remember, did okay, for Outer Worlds 1, good Lord, I can speak. Outer Worlds 1 did okay. Outer Worlds 2, from what I understand, sucked. And from everything I heard, Outer Worlds 2 did, like, horribly. So, I mean, is it any shock that Obsidian, basically caught a big part of the axe? One was enough to convince you not to try two. Like, from what I heard, one was just okay. It wasn't terrible, but it was like, I think Obsidian was a victim of their own reputation because everybody loved Obsidian for what they did with, Fallout New Vegas. Like, like everybody, like, when people thought of Obsidian at that point, they thought, oh, Fallout Vegas, they did phenomenal. The story was incredible. And so there was a great deal of hype when Obsidian said, we're making this new game Outer Worlds. It's going to play very similar to Fallout, but it's our own IP. It's our own story. And didn't people try and say Outer Worlds was some new indie masterpiece? I'm sure some of them did. I'm pretty sure like Angry Joe glazed it up, I believe. But from what I heard is Outer Worlds, the first one, was fine, just fine. And because it was just fine, it was a letdown because people had such a high expectation for Obsidian because of what they did with No Vegas. So, it being just fine in the last 10 years isn't good enough. And then Outer Worlds 2, from what I heard, was terrible. Everything I heard is Outer Worlds 2 was terrible. Nobody liked it. And Obsidian hasn't really been able to do anything else since. So it's no surprise that they were part of Bloody Monday and lost a lot of their people. And it's like, well, obviously obviously there was a change in Obsidian from when they did New Vegas to when they did Outer Worlds. They've got different people in there. And obviously it's wrong direction. Fuck around, you find out.
It's not just Microsoft's fault. Like, come on. It's so easy to just blame the higher ups. You see this all the time in AAA. Oh, it wasn't really their fault. It was their fault. Look, Microsoft has issues for sure. Absolutely. I'll gladly criticize Microsoft. But that doesn't mean Obsidian gets a free pass for their work and the bad jobs they've been doing on some of their more recent games.
Absolutely none of them get pass.
It's just ridiculous toxic positivity that continues to permeate through the industry. And I will make a caveat. This part is not so much the toxic positivity as much as it is the lack of accountability. Both are two big issues in AAA, but I digress. We're here for context. Let's continue. So this other person, Zero Omega, linked to a separate tweet from this person that says, pretty sure Daniel, art director, tweeted openly about refusing to hire straight white men. I hope he never works again. Which takes us to the Chris Avellone tweet that we've discussed already, where he said that's incorrect. Daniel did not post anything along those lines. The dev who posted it was Matt Hansen, and yes, he was laid off too. Learning the Law tweeting about this.
Look at the next one here. You got this guy, Nameless Soul. Chris, I love you, man, but just let it go. We get it. You work with a guy. Maybe he's a cool dude, blah, blah, blah. But the guy broadcasted the world. Now he's being clowned on by the internet. Just let it go. Like, he was offering a correction of the person who made the post was not the guy that they thought it was. They said is a good guy. The guy that they mistakenly thought made the post was not the guy. It was this guy. And then this one's like, oh, just let it go. Like, this is where you're like, stop. You're trying to dig in. You're trying to get some kind of an own. This is like, oh, just like, this is some guy. It's like, I'm going to own Chris Avellone. And it's like, dude, just shut up. He was offering a correction on who did it. This is try hard right here.
Posted it was Matt Hansen. And yes, he was laid off too. Learning the Law tweeting about this, saying this reads like it would be a joke, but the fact that it's not, like, it's crazy. Okay, it is a joke, don't get me wrong, but it's based off what he literally did say. So let's check this out real quick. Matt Hansen, art director for the game Avowed, has been laid off from Obsidian. Matt was known for his fantasy of being replaced by black people since he thinks there are too many crusty white dudes in the industry and wishes to retire and live in the woods. He finally did it.
And I mean, look at this guy. This is the guy right here. Look at this guy. When I look at this person, I think one of two things. I think either he hates himself, and because he's basically hates his own race, I guess. That's number one. Like this is the face of a male Karen. Absolutely. This is a male Karen right here. You know what else I think when I look at this? When I look at between his face and his outfit, you know what else I think? How long before he comes out? I don't think he's a hipster. I think how long before he comes out? I really do. This guy has a look of, now that he's not working for Obsidian, I would not be surprised if he comes out in like 2 years, not as gay, if he comes on and says, my name's not Matt, my name's Matilda. I would not be surprised if he comes out as like, I'm actually trans in like 2 years. That would not surprise me. But he'll keep the beard. He'll keep the beard, but he'll say, my name's Matilda, not Nat. Respect my pronouns. I'm waiting for it. And my name's Matilda, and my boyfriend's name is Tyrone, and he just rails me every night. But again, he'll keep the beard. I mean, it's crazy, but Am I wrong? Does he not have that look? Does he not have that look of someone who in 2 years will do that? Tell me I'm wrong. Yeah, and he's got the crazy eyes. Tell me I'm wrong.
Good job, Matt Hansen. Round of applause, bro. Oh gosh, I can't even. Ew. Okay, disgusting images on the left. I can't even scroll all the way. That's as far as it goes. Well, this sucks. I lost my train of thought. I think I was going to say congratulations to Matt. Round of applause for Matt. Something like that. Anyways, as mentioned, let's take a look at some of Matt Hansen's greatest hits now. So, prefaced in this tweet from Daniel Friedman says, congratulations to Obsidian Games art director Matt Hansen, who reportedly got what he wanted today when Xbox eliminated 3,200 positions, including his. Best of luck in the woods, Matt. And we see a tweet here that Matt had made that read, this is the one people keep citing. Reminder to black artists out there who are looking for portfolio reviews or job advice. My DMs are open, and you will always have my priority. We got too many crusty white dudes in this field. Please let me help you replace me one day. I want to go back to living in the woods.
Boy, you got your wish. You got your wish? Go live in the woods. Maybe you'll meet a bear.
Gotta love how he also capitalizes black and intentionally lowercases white.
Well, they always do that. The SJRs always do that. Especially like what would be colloquially considered the race traders. They always do it. In fact, you know the predominant people that capitalized black when they refer to black ethnicity and lowercase white when referring to white ethnicity? It's predominantly white people that do this. Like it is like this white fragility, this white guilt that has been drilled into them by the SJRs. It's like, you should hate yourself because of how you were born. Because of the very act of you being born is an insult to the black community. It's for clout. It's for clout, but they've also been basically been brainwashed by the cult of woke that if you were born white, you should be ashamed of it. Even though you had no choice in the matter, you can't choose your birth. But regardless of that, you should hate yourself for being born a certain skin color, and you should hold the people of this skin color higher in esteem than you, simply by virtue of birth alone, and that is it. That is predominantly the people that do the capital B for black, the lowercase w for white. They're cucks. To a degree, it's performative, and they are kind of doing it for clout, but they're doing it for clout because they've been brainwashed by the cult that you have to do this to be accepted by us. See, if he didn't do this, then the SJR cult would destroy him. That's not a white savior complex. No, that's incorrect. White savior complex would be like, my DMs are open. I'm going to hire only black people because I think black people have been marginalized. That would be the white savior complex. Like, only I can do this for you because you are downtrodden, and I will use my position of authority to better your lives. And I am the only one that can do it because I am a white man. That would be the white savior complex. This is martyrdom because we got too many crusty white dudes in this field. Please let me help you replace me. That's not savior complex. That's martyrdom. That is the white martyr, not savior. And again, it was something that he was indoctrinated into by the cult of DEI. And that's literally all it is. And so because the cult of DEI brainwashed him into hating himself by the very nature of his birth, then he's basically like, this is the suicidal empathy thing. And it's like, I will give up everything because I hate myself simply by the virtue of my birth, because black people, by literally just the virtue of their birth, are higher on the social ladder than I am, simply by their birth. That's it. And, well, you got your wish, gamer. Bye.
Which, again, is something that corpos love to do. It goes back to what I said earlier about how people like this act like they're so brave and tough by doing things like that. And they have like some of the most powerful institutions and organizations backing them in that.
This is bridge. That's what this is. This is bridge. Where we're going to capitalize black and lowercase white. We consulted with a wide group of people internally, externally around the globe, consider variety commentary making these decisions. Yeah, that's bridge. That's doing this. You know, it's DI, it's bridge because it's more entrenched and it's more hidden, although this isn't very hidden. But yeah, this is the AP that is basically saying we are going to be racist towards white people. Instead of simply just lowercasing black and white, we're going to actually uppercase black because we're racist against white people because our bridge masters told us to do this. That's all it is.
Rhetoric. AP, literally AP, the Associated Press, wrote this, and they're not the only mainstream news outlet to do such a thing either. But here's an example. Why we will lowercase white. AP style will continue to lowercase the term white in racial, ethnic, and cultural senses. This decision follows our move last month to capitalize black in such uses.
And by the way, that tells you that the AP will not be objective in their reporting. Not that anybody trusts mainstream news anyway, but this right here tells you that you can't trust anything coming out of the Associated Press. That they have a baked-in agenda towards black people and a disparagement against white people that is going to be baked into their reporting. Any report that runs through their editor will be marginalized to make black people or any other minority ethnicity superior to white people. And you can't trust a single report that comes out of this publication. Not one. And again, this is nothing new. We already all knew this. We already knew that mainstream media is garbage, that the vast majority of mainstream media is skewed to be anti-white. That is predominant in news media these days. But AP is basically just, they're announcing it. They're flat out announcing, we are pro-black and anti-white, and that's where we stand. So the Associated Press is basically like text, like written BET, effectively speaking. AP just changed their name to BET Media.
We consulted with a wide group of people internally and externally around the globe and considered a variety of commentary in making these decisions. Yeah, sure. The variety, by the way, is basically all people that have the same hive mind as they do. Then they essentially repeat the exact same thing here, but in the context of why they're going to lowercase white. And they elaborate on that here. We're not going to read the whole thing. Let's check out like the first.
I will. There's a clear desire and reason to capitalize black. Most notably, people who are black have strong historical and cultural commonalities. Why is that the most notable thing of why you're going to capitalize black and lowercase white? Are we about to get the white fragility? I think so. Even if they are from different parts of the world, and even if they now live in different parts of the world, that includes the shared experience of discrimination due solely to the color of one's skin. Guess what? That's a lie. AP just lied. The shared experience of discrimination due solely to the colors of one's skin. It doesn't happen. Not in America. In America, that doesn't happen. It doesn't. So that is a flat out lie. And a point of note, non-white individuals have actually been treated much better in the last several years than white people by the government. So this is an absolute fucking lie. And this is, once again, they're basically going back to Civil War times and previous. Again, because they don't have a modern example of actual systematic racism. Because that's the one thing that they love to push is, oh, there's systematic racism in this world. No, there's not. Actually, no. Let me rephrase. Yes, there is. It's systematic racism towards white people. They keep trying to push the systematic racism going back to basically Martin Luther King days, going back to like the 1950s, and the problem is they don't want to accept that they won back in the 1950s and 60s with MLK and the Civil Rights Movement. They don't want to admit that they won, because if they did, then they'd have to remove their victim status. And if they had to remove their victim status for basically all minorities, well, that means that the minority people would have to own up to the fact that they fuck up. For those those that are minorities, that basically, essentially speaking, because it's basically all of the ghetto hood rats. Because let's face it, a predominance of these ghetto hood rat culture is with black people. The reason for that, you can figure that one out yourself. But if they don't get down off the cross and get rid of this victimhood by continuing to perpetuate the lie that there is systemic racism across the country, if they don't do that, then they have to actually look at themselves and go, yeah, we're actually pieces of shit. And we deserve to be in prison. We deserve to not get the jobs that we apply for because we act like pieces of shit. We don't actually deserve all of the handouts that we got because we just piss them away. We use and abuse the charity that is provided to us. It's without the lie of systematic racism, they need to actually look at the truth of things, and they don't want to, because the truth of the matter paints them in a very negative light. And they don't want to take ownership of their own cultural bad behavior. And so that's why they continue to push the lie over and over and over again. That's why they refuse to climb down off the cross, use the wood to build a bridge, and get the fuck over it. It's why they're constantly going back to the civil rights. It actually did not even go back. It's so funny. They skip right over the entire civil rights part of it, and they're constantly harping on the slave trade back during that ended the Civil War. How many black activists are still harping on, oh, we want our reparations. We want our reparations. You don't deserve it. Modern day black people in America do not deserve reparations in any way, shape, or form. None. You were not a slave. Your parents were not slaves. I would argue most of the grandparents were not slaves either. You don't deserve reparations. And in fact, you are living in one of the wealthiest times in human history in the United States. You are always fed, to the point that many quote unquote poor black people are actually severely overweight. It's all performative. And it's all just basically a means to basically try and just claim victimhood to get free shit. That's what it basically boils down to. It's victimhood for free shit.
Paragraph, though. There was clear desire and reason to capitalize black. Most notably, people who are black have strong historical and cultural commonalities, even if they are from different parts of the world, and even if they now live in different parts of the world. That includes the shared experience of discrimination due solely.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and that's not even reparation, but how Carmela's family got close to $1 million raised, and instead of actually using it to pay for a good lawyer, they pissed it all away buying a brand new Cadillac and renting out what was it, an $800 or a $500,000 home or something? Yeah, exactly. It's every single one of these people that says we deserve reparations absolutely does not, and they need to be examined. They need to be investigated to see if they're wasting taxpayer dollars for social programs like EBT and things like that. Those are the ones that demand, the ones that demand the free shit, the ones that demand the reparations. Government needs to give us money simply because of my skin color when I was born. They're the ones that need to be investigated. Okay, how long have you been on EBT? How long have you been getting child benefits? What job are you actually working or not working that requires this? Because that's what these individuals do. They take and take and take because it's so easy, and if they get denied, they can just claim racism because that's their only go-to. And the problem is, it's not working all that much anymore. The racism card has stopped working. Nobody cares. Absolutely nobody cares. No one believes it. And when someone tries to pull the racism card, the majority of sane people just go, I don't fucking care. That doesn't work on me. Fuckity bye.
To the color of one's skin. There is at this time less support for capitalizing white. White people generally do not share the same history and culture or the experience of being discriminated against because of skin color.
Again, the virtue signaling victim complex. I'm really curious what individual wrote this. I would really love to know who it was that wrote this article. Because I don't think we saw a name. Hang on. Let's see. We're at 7-Eleven. Aha. Let me see if we get a name. Nope. No name. I am really curious who the individual was that wrote this article that's saying white people do not share the same history or culture or the experience of being discriminated against because of skin color. Yes, they do. Nowadays, white people are discriminated against far more than black people because of their skin color. Far more. There has been a dynamic shift. And so now, 100% white people are discriminated against strictly because of their skin color. I will once again point out that when Renee Good died because she tried to run over an ICE officer and paid with her life for that action, when they held a quote-unquote vigil, they refute, like, they have like a small little vigil thing going on, and I can't remember the exact phrasing. I'm sure one of you guys in chat are going to remind me of it, but it was attended by a bunch of black people, and they basically wouldn't, you know how basically black activists love to do the say her name thing, and then they start screaming the name of a victim, and they just keep doing that over and over. They refused to do that for Renee Good. They would not give her the same treatment that they would give one of their own. And you know why? Because she's white. They literally said, and I can't remember the exact phrasing of it, but very much paraphrasing this, they basically said, we can't give her that because she's white. She, like, we'll give her the only good thing. The only good thing Renee did was die for the cause. That's one thing. Yeah, say her name is only for black women. Basically, yeah, it's only reserved for they said, like, say her name is only reserved for black women. They basically said, like, oh, she gets credit for being a race traitor, and that's it, something like that. Like, that is literally what these black activists said on camera. Okay, this is recorded. This was recorded on camera of these black activists saying that Renee Good was not good enough to rank high amongst their martyrs, literally because she was white. They have openly said this. So, yeah, white people very much are familiar with being discriminated against because of their skin color in the modern day. So you can take that commentary and shove it straight up your ass.
In addition, we are a global news organization, and in much of the world, there is considerable disagreement, ambiguity, and confusion about whom the term includes. This is an extremely disingenuous and manipulative framework that organizations and activists and all these sort of people like to use. Oh, there's no such thing as white culture. That's a lie. That's just not true.
That's a big fucking lie.
And then they'll turn around and say, well, okay, but white culture is intrinsically linked to white supremacy, so you can't support it.
And by the way, hot take. If they're going to say that white culture doesn't exist, because predominantly we're looking at this from the U.S., I'm assuming they're looking at this from the U.S. perspective. If they're going to say white culture doesn't exist in the United States, guess what? You could say the same thing about black culture, unless you're going to basically refer to black culture being ghetto hood rat culture. And I'm sure you wouldn't want to do that. I'm sure you would not want the ghetto thug gangbanger criminal mentality that is so prevalent in that culture to be exemplified, to be the exemplary of black people. I'm sure you wouldn't want to do that because that is unfair to a great many black people that are not ghetto hood rats. But saying that white people do not have a culture, you would have to say the same thing about black people, because black people in America, they don't embrace an African culture. Okay? Or the ones that do are literally co-opting it. The black people in America that like to adorn themselves in traditional like African garb and like to proclaim that they're African and like LARP as someone that like LARP what like their ancestors were, that's literally pretending. They didn't grow up with that culture. They grew up with American culture. And so you could say the exact same thing about them if you wanted to. But no one's going to because, oh my God, if you do that, you're racist, right? But like everybody has a culture, except it's not a divisive culture. It's literally an American culture. Okay? White people and black people in America all share a culture. That is American culture. You can have like subcategories of it, sure. You can have subcategories where you've got like, you know, some with some black people, you've got the ghetto culture. You have some black people that they're direct descendants of like African culture. And then so they basically maintain their African culture. You have white people who have multiple cultures throughout various cities. You have like in Boston, you have the Boston Irish. That's their Irish culture. That's white. White people have the Irish culture, or they have maybe the Polish culture, or maybe they have Russian culture. Like, but in total, but this is like subsets. Bearing in mind, this is a subset that is layered on top of the overriding American culture, which is what all people, all Americans, white, black, Hispanic, Indian, what have you, they have American culture. No matter how much you want to try and pretend that doesn't exist, it absolutely does exist. Now, a lot of activists try to pretend that American culture doesn't exist. Oh, it 100% exists. And no matter how much you try and deny it, is not going to make it go away.
And they try and just lie about this stuff and manipulate people in this exact manner over and over and over again. And then on top of that, they also have complete double standards as well. And actually, if you skip down to this paragraph, you can see I literally called their next line because I've dealt with people like this for
there it
long
is.
enough period of time where I know what they do. I know what their next move is. And you can see right here, for example, they say, capitalizing the term white, as is done by white supremacists.
There we go. Let's read the full thing. We agree that white people's skin color plays into systemic inequalities and injustices. Again, that's a lie. That is, again, the Associated Press playing victim. That they're doing the white fragility thing, and they have to maintain this lie in order to basically maintain the victimhood. And that's what they're doing. They're maintaining the victimhood because then look at the next line. Capitalizing the term white is done by white supremacists. Got a question for the Associated Press. So what about the black supremacists? What about them? Because we have seen a significant rise ever since the Carmelo Anthony case. We've seen quite the rise in black supremacy lately, haven't we? So why are you going to, so you're saying, okay, we're going to lowercase the W in white because of white supremacists. Okay. What about the black supremacists? So by capitalizing the B in black, the way black supremacists do, so does that mean that you are on the side of black supremacists who have gone on record publicly numerous times of saying that white people should die simply for the fact that they're white? So we are to take this to mean that the Associated Press is all in on the genocide of white people simply by virtue of their skin color. Am I understanding this correctly, Associated Press?
Risk subtly conveying legitimacy to such beliefs. So suddenly, if you capitalize white because you want to push back, you want to be the counterculture to organizations like this and their manipulative rhetoric, they're just going to label you a white supremacist for being counterculture to their lies and manipulations and
which again doesn't work which again, basically throwing out white supremacists is going to do one of two things these days. Number one, you're going to have people go, I don't fucking care, your race card doesn't work. That's number one. Number two, it's going to have the opposite effect that you want it to, because it's not going to shame people anymore. Because because white people are getting called white supremacists all the damn time. And so one of two things is happening. One, people they're just going, I don't fucking care. Your race card bullshit doesn't work. Your virtue signaling doesn't work. I don't care. Shut your mouth. That's number one. Number two, you're going to start seeing more and more people, and I think we're actually seeing it, that are going to go, you know what? Fuck it. You want to keep calling me a white supremacist? I'm going to show you what that actually means. Unfortunately, that is going to be a side effect of this. It's just like I was saying, where you keep calling everybody Nazis, you keep calling everybody fascists, you keep calling everybody istophobes. You keep doing that over and over and over again. People are going to start saying, you know what? Screw it. They're going to call me this anyway. I might as well just lean into it. And you're gonna see more and more people that are just like that are just gonna say, "Hi, fuck it. You want to call me it? I'll actually be it." And you're gonna see this kind of stuff on the rise because it's almost self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, I don't think people should. I think you need to give in to. You should resist that self-fulfilling prophecy. You should not give into it. But it is going to happen because people are going to get sick and tired of being called an istophobe, a Nazi, a fascist, a white supremacist, literally just for existing. People only have so much that they're willing to be pushed before they just say screw it and clap back and just say I'm just gonna fuck it. I'm gonna do it. There is a limit to how much people are going to take before they just snap.
Gaslighting and double standards. It could even be simpler than that. You could have someone that capitalizes black and white and whatever else, and they're still going to get mad and say, "Oh, but you can't capitalize white though." Again, double standards that they try and justify with a manipulative, corrupt, and disingenuous framework. I could go on and on about that and break it down even further, but you get the point. So let's go back to Matt Hansen, who, if you recall, we got to that AP article because he was one of those people that loves to capitalize black and lowercase.
Of course, because he's bridge.
You know, very typical guy like that. Over on Blue Sky, another one of his.
But by the way, I have a question for Matt. Please bear in mind, this tweet was from almost 2 years ago. And he's saying, we got too many crusty white dudes in this field. Let me help you replace me one day. Okay, I have a question for Matt. If you're so, God, what was the word? If you're such a white martyr, why didn't you give up your position to a black person almost 2 years ago? He wants to say like, oh, let me help you replace me. Why didn't you interview a candidate to replace you already and quit? Why if you're so stuck on this white fragility and white guilt and want to be a martyr and want to go back to living in the woods, why didn't you put out a notice for hiring, interview candidates and pick a black candidate specifically to replace you and quit? If you were so gung-ho about this. Why? Because he doesn't actually believe it. That's why. He doesn't actually believe it. He's goose-stepping because the hive mind demands he does, and if he doesn't, then they'll destroy him. But that's literally it. It's fake it's false virtue signaling. If he actually wanted to play, white murder, then he would have just literally quit and actually installed a black person that he is asking for into his position. So he's a liar. He's completely disingenuous. He's a liar, and he's a pretender. He's LARPing. But he can't act like he's LARPing because if he does, then basically the woke mob will destroy him.
Very typical guy like that. Over on Blue Sky, another one of his greatest hits was reposted to Twitter, where he was responding to this person, Hamlet, that said, pronoun selector independent of body type was something I tried to push for. Excuse me. I tried to push for before leaving WoW. At any rate, I think it should essentially be table stakes for new character creation systems being made now. Matt Hansen says 100%. It's no secret that I do
Dear God. And of course, this is on Blue Sky. Because, of course, this is on Blue Sky.
Like androgynous characters, but people like Hamlet and Matt Hansen, these people are so lazy, bro. These sort of performative virtue signal.
Like that celebrity who said you can't own stolen land, and when actual Native Americans tried to claim her pop, Robert Jed. Yeah. You're talking about Billie Eilish. Yeah, Billie Eilish said, like, when she received her award for winning Best Artist or whatever it was, and then had to pontificate in virtue signaling, you can't, no one is illegal on stolen land. And then, yeah, Native American tribe decided that, like, okay, cool, can we have our land back that your house is on? And she went, no, I meant for everyone else, not me. Yeah, you push any of these virtue signaling asshats to actually stand by the bullshit that they spew, they cave instantly and they go, I meant everyone else, not me.
Corpos, these activists, they're so lazy with this stuff. Like, oh, we can put a pronoun selector option in the menu. Wow, we're so great. 100%, we should do that. Now, how about you actually make like a compelling character that subverts the expectations of the reader or the viewer or the gamer and the character's
that's too
identity
hard for
in
the
a way
modern.
that's actually interesting.
That's too hard for modern
and
devs.
has like actual lore and nuance and character building.
Because you're asking too much from the modern devs. Modern devs are not creative. They are into the modern devs, modern storytell. A lot of the modern storytellers are not creative. They only know how to basically co-opt and steal. They cannot create. They can only twist and destroy. That is the modern developer. That is the modern writer. That is the modern screenwriter. The creativity is gone in the entertainment industry. It is no more. You have you're only going to find it in independents, independent game developers, independent studios. That's the only place you're going to find creativity anymore. Mainstream, they've destroyed. They've cultivated people that don't know how to be creative, and the only thing that they focus on is pushing agenda and ideology. That's why mainstream games and mainstream Hollywood is crashing and burning, because no one wants that anymore. Everybody's done.
Actual depth. Just putting an option in the menu, it doesn't mean anything. It's, again, just like the most lazy virtue signal and lazy attempt at forcing their worldview onto other people. How about you put in actual effort? How about you actually write compelling characters? But they don't. They make modern audience slop over and over and over again. And
they can't, because this kind of goes back to school. Schools do not teach kids critical thinking skills or creativity anymore. The school system is now designed to stymie the mental growth of students. And it's all about just cramming ideology into them, making them good little drones for when they reach adulthood and can further the cause. And so they don't know how to think critically. They don't retain information, and they don't know how to be creative. That has basically all been beaten out of kids in school now. So you have nothing but robots coming out of the school system.
And it always comes off so shallow and hollow, because to these people, that's all it really is. It's like identity to them is very shallow and hollow, but they act like they're so intellectual about this stuff. And you can clearly see by the way they actually write these things and go about it all, that they have a very archaic and rudimentary mindset. And yeah, I understand that they were talking about like a player character customization option, but my point still stands, and my point's about a broader scope. My point is about like the AAA industry overall, and how you see people like this put out slop like Tosh from Veilguard, from BioWare.
God.
I'm non-binary. They make this non-binary character, and it's like the most horribly written nonsense ever. And it's because...
And it failed abysmally, and I'm glad it did. Veilguard bombed hard. I'm not sure how many people they fired after that. Good. Good. They all need to fail. They absolutely do. They need to fail. The people that are involved in it, every single one of them needs to be fired, go out in the street, and no other development studio should ever hire them. That's how this changes. Is that people that put out this slop that insults everyone and doesn't make the company money, they should be fired, and they should never work in the industry again. They should go, like, go put the fries in a bag. That you might be able to handle that, and that's all they should be allowed to do. Simple as that.
They treated Tosh just like a character to check boxes on. Oh,
Yes,
we're so great.
that's
We're
all
adding
they
this
do is check
representation.
boxes.
And they never actually made the character meaningful in any way. And that's what it's like with people like this over and over and over again. It's just checking boxes, virtue signaling, trying to push
Just like
people
Hollywood.
to the
Entertainment now in mainstream is all about check boxes. It is. Like, look at the Odyssey that's coming out. Look at what's coming out with the Odyssey. Look how many check boxes there are with the Odyssey film that's coming out. Now, Phoenix from Side Scrollers is holding out hope. He believes that Christopher Nolan is like he thinks like, oh, Christopher Nolan's a really great director. He's really dialed in. He doesn't do something without a reason. He's got a lot of faith in Christopher Nolan with this new Odyssey film. With the Helen of Troy actress that's basically admitted she's never read the Odyssey before. She has no idea what the story's about, but she got cast as Helen of Troy. That they basically race swapped Helen of Troy. They've got they've got a transgender person as one of the characters. There's not a single Greek actor cast in any role in the Odyssey, which is a Greek fable. I will repeat that. The Greek, yes, Odyssey as in Homer's Odyssey. Christopher Nolan did a movie. It's coming out like this week. A Greek fable, one of the most famous Greek fables in all of literature, Homer's Odyssey, does not have a single Greek actor in the movie. Not one. But they have a black girl playing Helen of Troy. They have a transgender person playing, I don't even know what character Elliot Page is playing. The rumors was that that Elliot Page was playing Achilles. I don't think that's correct. I do not believe it's Achilles. I believe it's another role, but I'm not 100% sure. I'm not 100% on that, so don't quote me. And Phoenix was saying like, oh, it's Christopher Nolan. He's such a fantastic director. He's really dialed in. He knows everything. He's gonna have this all like worked out just right. I love Phoenix, but he's got blinders on, saying that Christopher Nolan can do no wrong. Like, yeah, he's good by doing points for the Oscars. I 100% believe this is specifically done for Oscar bait, actually. And I don't think Christopher Nolan is like this infallible god either. Christopher Nolan has put out movies that are not good. Dark Knight Rises, anyone? Dark Knight Rises was a dog shit Batman movie. Absolute dog shit. It was not good. It was Christopher Nolan desperately trying to take two or three very popular Batman storylines and smushing them together. He basically took Batman Returns, Nightfall, and No Man's Land, and smushed them all together, and said Dark Knight Rises. Also, I don't think Interstellar was the masterpiece everybody makes it out to be. It was good. It was a decent movie. Had good moments in it. I didn't think Interstellar was a bad movie. I also don't think it is the best thing since sliced bread that everybody made it out to be. It was decent. It was decent. I'll even go good. Interstellar was a good movie, but people were basically putting it up on this pedestal of, oh my God, it's at the time, oh, it's Christopher Nolan's best film ever. This is a masterpiece. Like that's what the Christopher Nolan fanboys do. They elevate his stuff that is maybe good and put it way up. Now, like The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight was a really good movie, but not the Batman. The Dark Knight was a really good movie because of Heath Ledger. That's what made it a really good movie. I think the actual Batman stuff in Christopher Nolan's movies wasn't all that good. No one couldn't do the character Batman. He couldn't. He didn't know what the hell to do with the character of Batman. The other characters, like Scarecrow and the Joker, were really good. Bane, I still don't like what they did. I don't like what they did with Bane. But he couldn't do anything with Batman himself. It's like, so, like, The Dark Knight Rises, terrible, didn't like it. Interstellar it was good. Wasn't a masterpiece. Inception, again, good, not a masterpiece. I think it was good. It was fine. It's not the masterpiece everybody made it out to be. So this is what I'm talking about with, people putting people on pedestals. I'm actually not sure how the hell I got onto this in the first place. I'm not sure what put me here. I just went way off track. I know you're surprised, but I just I wanted to just say that when it comes to like creativity, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, let's do that.
The political side that they're a part of. Anyways, I could go on and on about that. As a matter of fact, I did. I actually went on about that for like another 2 minutes, but I'm cutting that out of this video. It's a bit too much. We'll leave it there. So let me know what you think, cycling back to the main topic about Matt Hansen finding out. Yet another person like that has found out.
Oh, it's the check
We'll leave it
boxes
there.
thing.
Thank you for
That's
tuning
what it
in.
was.
I hope you enjoyed the latest, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.
Yeah, it was the old checkbox thing, which is basically how DEI and Bridge works. That's what got me on that, is where Hirohei was mentioning, like, they're just like, DEI woke Bridge is all about checkboxes. And we're seeing it everywhere. That's what made me think of Odyssey, is because Odyssey literally is just checkboxes. It is checkboxes, the movie, and I don't think it's gonna do well. I really don't. And I could be wrong. Maybe what we're seeing in the trailers is not going to be exemplary, or is not going to exemplify the movie writ large, but doesn't look good. And I think this people are tired of the race swaps. People are tired of the virtue signaling. They're tired of it. They're tired of it in movies. They're tired of TV. They're tired of it in games. And that is why when we see people like this Matt guy getting fired from Obsidian because he was partially responsible for losing the parent company hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, we laugh. We point and laugh and say, go put the fries in the bag.
Ember burns